Mm. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Karen Scott from Karen's Stamp Pad. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Edmonton, Alberta. So last week I had done some cards, and I thought I would show you. I had mentioned that maybe I'd show you the gift boxes that I'd previously done a video on this gift box because I like to make cards and gift them to people. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm also going to, these are for the regular size 4.5 or 4.25 by 5 cards. And I'm also going to show you the a smaller version that fits the note cards. So these are two of the examples. I'll show you just how it opens up, and then you put your cards in there and gift them. These would be a nice Mother's Day present. So not only can you make a card for your mother, you can give her some to gift to other people for different occasions. So excuse me. So I'm going to start off with the smaller version this time. And I am going to use the prized peony. Actually, I'm not using the stamps, but I'm going to use the dies. And the dies are on sale. So this is a retiring stamp set and dies. The Peony Dies are 50% off. And they're regularly, let me see, $54, I believe it was. And they're 50% off, so they're $27. And 20% off the stamp set. So it's now down to $24.80. So it's while supplies last. So if you like, you know, sort of the idea and the projects, then maybe get your hands on it before it's all sold out. I think it's a great deal. So I'm going to pull in. I've already done some scoring and cutting just to make it a little faster. And I'll go through the measurements with you. I have, I'm using some retired cardstock because I just want to use up some of them, and I love the colors. So this is the Purple Posy, and it has since retired, but I mean, you can use whatever colors you like. And the first piece that I cut is 9 inches, so 9 inches by 5 3/4. Hello, Margaret Ann. Thanks for joining me. And so we're going to take this piece and then we're going to score it at 4 inches and 5 inches. So I've already gone ahead and I've done that. And what you want to do with this piece is we want to round the corners. So if you have a corner rounder, it just softens the look. We're going to do all 4 corners. Okay, and we'll set that aside. Our second piece of cardstock is 9 1/4 by 7 3/4. And what I've done is I have scored it a little differently because we've got the outer side we want to be able to fold down and in on itself. Now originally I said score at 1 inch and 2 inches, but I have since done a few of these boxes, and I found that if you cut your, or if you score your first score line at 15/16, so that first little mark on your scoring, your cutting and scoring tool, just before the 1 inch mark, score it there, and then your second score line at 1 15/16. So that just gives, it does, when you'll see when I show you. It's a little hard to explain. So you're going to end up with it with a perfectly square, or not square, but squared on the sides piece of cardstock. So I'm going to pull in my paper snips, and what I've already done is I have cut 3 of the sides out, and I'm just going to show you what we do with the fourth one. So as you can see, here's our square. There's 4 little squares here that are scored, and I'm just going to take it like I did this side, and I'm going to cut in to the second score line. And I'm going to do the same here, because as you can tell from the other end, I just want that center square. So I'm going to take off this piece and this other little square, so that I'm just left with the center one. And I'm just going to make some wedges on it so it folds in easier, and pull that out. So now you have it. So I've got just 4 little squares here. Okay, and we're going to glue it together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal to just do these tabs. So fold the tabs in, because you want the Stampin' Seal to be on the outer or the back side. And you'll see I'm going to do exactly the same thing for the bigger box. It's just different dimensions. So what I should have done first is scored, or should I say use my bone folder and burnish the edges before I put the glue on. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to line these up. By using the tear and tape, or the, you could use tear and tape as well, but by using the Stampin' Seal, it just makes it easier than the liquid glue at this point. Then I don't have to hold it down to dry. So what I'm going to do is pour my liquid glue next, and just on the top portion I'm going to put some liquid glue on all the sides. The way. And then I am going to fold these down. Now I've got little clothespins for other craft projects, and I'm just going to use that to hold it down in place till the liquid glue dries. There. And see, if you scored at the 1 inch mark and the 2 inch mark, then with one of the folds you end up with a little bit on the inside that you have to flatten down. This way, if you just take that 1/16 of an inch off, it folds down quite neatly. Okay. So I'm just going to put this aside and I'm going to let it dry while we work on the front. So we've already burnished our edges, right? And we want it to be like a book, but we're going to decorate the outside first. Oh, thank you for sharing. Okay. So you could use designer series paper if you want, which I have done on some of them, but I decided I'm going to just use some basic white cardstock, and I've cut it down to, so I've got two pieces, one for the front, one for the back, and those are 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, and I'm going to take them both and I'm going to just round two of the edges on the long side. I've also taken them and as you can tell with these ones, I've used the masking technique and the shimmer embossing paste, shimmer white, and I've created a background instead of using designer series paper on this. And these ones I've used embossing folders. So this one's the polka dots, and I believe they aren't rolling over either. And you get a set of two for your mini Stampin' or your mini boss, and there's stripes and there's polka dots. They're really cute. So let me grab some ribbon. And I don't have any purple posy ribbon, so I'm going to use some white. Actually, let me grab a different one. Like this. It's got a little bit of glitter to it. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to bring in my tear and tape, because I just want to hold it down and hold it in place so that I can get it even on both sides. Okay, let's see, that looks about center. Don't get it too close to the edge, because remember, you've got to leave a little bit of a border. Okay, close that up and put it on the same side, or in the same spot. Let me find the end of this. Okay. Got a bit of a tickle in my throat. I took a drink of water just as the camera started to roll and I started to choke on it. So trying to clear my throat. Okay, and then we're going to cut it in the middle. So that gives us enough to tie down. So let's open it back up and adhere our basic white cardstock or your designer series paper if that's what you choose to put on. I love the clean look of the white. And then you'll see, because I have die cut some peonies that I'm going to decorate with. So you can decorate it however you want it. If you decide to use designer series paper, a lot of times that just kind of stands on its own and you don't need to do any decorating. You know, you can put a sentiment on the front, just, you know, for you, or, you know, if you're giving it for Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day, and Okay, and now I've got one other piece, a little strip, and it's embossed with the polka dots as well. And that one piece for the edge is 5 inches by 3.5. Oh no, I'm sorry, 5.25 by 3/4 of an inch. Giving you the wrong measurements. Okay. There we go. So now I've die cut my pieces. I've put one of my peonies together already, and the other one I didn't. So what I've done is I've just cut it out from basic white, and I used my blending brushes and gave it a little bit of some color, darker in some areas. And here's one. So I'm going to show you how to put this together. There are 4 pieces. There's other die cuts in there, but to put this flower together, there's 4 pieces, and you will see each one has a cut in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the smallest one and then the next size, and you'll see that this fits in like that. And you push it down, and if you've got this, the Stampin' Dies, you probably already know this, but yeah, now's the time to be telling you, now that it's retiring. So anyway, and you put it so it lines up, the bottom lines up. And then we're going to take the next size and we're going to put that in until the bottom lines up again. It's got the same edge on the bottom. And then our 4th piece and final piece, it goes in like that. Line up the bottom, and then you can glue it down. So I'm just going to take some liquid glue and glue these pieces so it stays in place. And I'm going to have to maneuver them before they dry. Okay. My last one moved right over. Okay, here we go. Now what you can do is you can play with it and just kind of bend the edges so it gives it more of a 3D look to it. Okay, and then figure out where you want to place it. Now I could bring in my blending brushes and maybe just put some more color on. Let me see. Okay. So bringing my purple posy, I'm just going to put a little bit on. Remember to dab off so you don't have big blobs. I don't think I need that much. Okay, just a slight hue. All right. Now I'm going to adhere my peonies. Probably only need one for that one. And I've die cut a couple of some leaves to add a little bit more color. All right. attach that where you want. I'm not going to put a sentiment on this because I haven't. I'll do that probably when I decide who I'm going to give it to and for what occasion. Okay. I tried growing some peonies last year. Now there is a die cut that you can put in the center if you want a centerpiece. I didn't cut it out. Okay, I don't know. I think I'm going to put the other one on. I made it, so let's use it. And one more leaf, I guess. Okay. There we go. Thank you. This is last night was my first night playing with this. The whole time it was in the catalog, I didn't buy it, and then I actually got it in my last order. I decided to take advantage of the deal. So I'm on a flower kick lately. 5 years to bloom. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's why nothing came up. And the fact that my dogs kept pulling them out too. And they're not good for dogs. Dogs are allergic to them. And I planted dahlias too. I love dahlias. And I always wanted some, but of course all of the flowers that I like, they're toxic to dogs, so I really had to watch. All right, now, did I cut a piece for the inside? If you want to put a piece of designer series paper or something on the inside of the box, let me just line this up. Can't talk and think at the same time. Okay, so make sure that it can fold over, but there you have you have your little box for your note cards. So again, the note cards, there are some in the new catalog as well, and some they're not on sale, but $9.50 for 20 of them, 20 cards and 20 envelopes, and they're 3.5 by 5, and this box fits it perfectly. And you could probably get about, if they're flat cards, probably about 10 of them in there. If they're layered cards, maybe a few less. And the inside would be 5 inches by 3.5 inches if you wanted to put a piece on the bottom of the inside. So, okay, there's our first one. Second one is going to be exactly the same, only done in a different color, different embossing, and different dimensions. So let me get my scraps out of the way. So again, we have 2 pieces. In the first piece, we are going to cut at 10.5 by 6.5. So 10.5 on the long side, 6.5. And we are going to score it at 4 3/4 and 5 3/4. So again, we will fold those and just burnish the edges. And we are going to round all 4 corners. Okay. So for the outside of the box, I've embossed with an embossing folder again, and this one I believe is Old World. And I've put my peonies together so you don't have to watch that again. And my strips. So these two pieces are 6 1/4 by 4 1/2, and we want to round both of them on, or the corners on the long side. Okay. Why? I think one is bigger than the other. I might have to cut it down. All right, and then our piece is 6 1/4 by 3/4 for the 1 inch seam. Okay, and again, our second piece is 10 inches by 8 1/2 inches. And then we're going to score it on all sides at 15/16 and 1 15/16. So, and we will do exactly the same thing when folding it up and cutting it. So I've cut the 3 corners like I did on the last one and left one. So we want to cut the outer squares and just leave our little tab. So, okay, cut this one out. Let's see where the score line is. A little easier when you fold it. Okay, now you can notch these. Oops, don't rip it. You can notch these out as well if you're so inclined. And I've done that on the others. And don't forget to notch this piece. Good. Now we'll put it all together. And see how quick and easy these are. And they're, you know, depending on how you want to decorate them, they're pretty neat little presents. And again, put your Stampin' Seal or tear and tape on here. You could use tear and tape for the whole thing. It's strong enough it would hold it together. I just find it's faster for me if I use liquid glue. Okay. And my clothespins again. These are the handiest things. I have a drawer full of them. Alrighty. And then we'll put that aside again to dry. Grab some more ribbon. Okay. And let's adhere this down with our tear and tape. That looks like it's in the middle. Okay. Thought I'm gonna do one up with, I've got a bunch of note cards done up with the sweet ice cream bundle, the punch and the dies, just for kids' birthdays. And I know that people are always looking for birthday cards, so I thought that would be a do that up on the outside, and then just put a bunch of the ice cream birthday notes, the small ones, in, and gift them. Pardon me. Yeah, I thought that was a little off. Okay, give me half a second. Okay, around that. All right, that's better. Tip it down. I have a tickle in my throat now. And there's this one. Oh, that needs to be cut down too. I got all set up last night to do this. So it was getting a little late. I had an appointment this morning and I didn't want to, just in case I came back late, I wanted it all to be ready. So I was on time today. And I guess I got my dimensions wrong when I cut them. Okay. There we go. Let's see what I'm doing. Move my edge. Really? Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put my peonies on. Now you could, depends on which way you want it to go. You know, open up this way or like a book this way. I think probably this way. Okay. Put them like that. Bring in some more of my leaves. And one more. And then we just put our bottom on. There we go. Just a little bit. So bring this in. And you could, because it'll still be a little sticky, use your one folder and burnish it down. It'll all stick and be nice and crisp. There we go. Okay. Put our glue on. We're going to use liquid glue so we have some room to maneuver it and just make sure that our box closes the way we want it to. Because if you get the bottom portion too far over, then on the seam it won't close. So there we go. All right, so there we have another finished box. Now we need to get to making some cards to put in them. Here we have it. There's the two peonies. And I'll close this one up. This one is the poppies, which the poppy dies and stamps will be rolling over into the new catalog. And we have pansy patch. And I do believe the pansies are rolling over as well, just not the paper. So different designs, and like I said, you could use your designer series paper if you want, but thank you. Yeah, it doesn't take any time at all to do them, and the scoring takes, once you have the dimensions, it's a piece of cake. So anyway, which one do you like the best, Margaret Ann? I kind of like my pansies with the glitter background. So thank you for joining me, Margaret Ann. And yeah, I will see everybody again next week on Thursday at 1 o'clock. And so have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend. It's Easter weekend this weekend, so a long weekend for everybody. And I hope you get to spend some time with friends and family. And it's special. So thank you again for joining me. I will see you next week. Oh, you like the pansies too? Okay. Perfect. Yeah. I'm just gonna play around with these peonies. I think I do some cards, just basic cards with those. So anyway, happy Easter to you too. All right. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.